All right, everyone. We're so grateful for you joining us this evening. We are really excited to share with you some great ways to get your best sleep of your life. And just for introductions, I know most of you know Crystal and me, but my name is Joel, Dr. Joel Dayton. I am a chiropractor, and Crystal is an acupuncturist and chiropractor, and we practice in Orlando. We've been at it for 9 years, and we love being able to serve the community, and we love being able to increase the knowledge of everyone in our community so you guys can learn to take care of yourselves because that's something that we're super passionate about is helping people be able to truly be their own primary care health provider. You get to make your choices, you get to be informed, and you get to work in conjunction with other people who can help you. But we want to make sure that you feel empowered to take care of yourself. So let's go hop on in. Many of you know this year we have been moving up this pyramid. We've been looking at different ways that we can help make our health even better. And so we've gone through nutrition, we've gone through movement and our metabolism. Now we're on to rest. We did manage stress last month. And so we're going to be talking about proper rest and sleep. And next month, we're going to be talking about how you can reduce toxic load. So we're super happy to be able to educate you on these. And again, please stick with us for as we all better our health. Okay. So let's talk about what we need for rejuvenation. These are very, very simple things, right? You eat well, you exercise well, you sleep well, and generally speaking, your life's going to be pretty good as far as your physical needs go. But although we know that these are three things that we need and that we really have to focus on, um, sometimes sleep can be the one that we shortchange. We don't have enough hours in the day. We have kids or whatever, a really hectic schedule. And as a result, we tend to shortchange ourselves on sleep. Other people struggle with just being able to get to sleep. They want to sleep, but they just feel like they're can't get their mind to shut off. So we're going to talk about ways to help you prioritize and also be able to prepare yourself to be able to sleep the best. Okay? So let's go ahead and talk about first, why do you need sleep? So a lot of people don't know this, and maybe some people do, but when you sleep, your body is rebuilding. It does most of its rebuilding when you sleep. So it's helping with your heart and your brain and your blood vessels and your muscles. In fact, you know what? If you get adequate sleep, you can increase the ability of your muscles to regenerate by 30%, which is a huge amount. So it's very significant to be able to get the adequate amount of sleep. Another thing that is really important is there's things called lymphocytes, and those are or it's called actually the lymphatic system. And what that is it is the process that helps clean out your central nervous system. So there's gunk that gets built up in there as you're going throughout the day, and as you sleep that can actually be cleaned out. You can actually make sure that your brain is functioning much better because that system is going to pump and get all of that junk out of your brain and out of your central nervous system. So it's very, very important that you take care of this, that you get enough sleep, because if you don't, unfortunately, it's going to have a negative effect on your brain and your central nervous system, right? Here's another statistic for you. When people only get, let's say, 4 hours of sleep, there's some good research that's out there that says if you do this, you actually decrease your they're called natural killer cells. They're white blood cells that actually will, they're going to basically destroy viruses and tumor cells. If you only get 4 hours of sleep, you decrease the amount of those cells by 70%, right? So you only have 30% of the cells that you would create to be able to help fight off infections, tumors. Yeah, so it's a really big uh, focus that we need to have in our lives to be able to get an adequate sleep. So anytime you're shortchanging yourself, you're shortchanging your ability to recover and heal. Okay. Now, how much sleep do we need? This is a big question because a lot of people they think, well, man, I need 9 hours of sleep, and it's going to vary depending on the person, obviously. But these are some kind of guidelines, levels that you should think about when you're taking care of yourself and your family. So let's look at newborn stage. Obviously, we're trying to get a lot of sleep. When you're, it seems like when uh, we're around babies, they're sleeping all the time. They really are, and they actually need it because think about it. Their body is going through this huge transformation and growth mode. And so when they're really newborn, before 1 year old, they should be getting 16 hours of sleep. Now, that is not during the night, that is throughout the day also. So let's say they sleep 10 hours, or our boys did not sleep like that. They would sleep like 8 hours or less, and it would be a 1 or 2 hour stint, and it was rough for about 8 months. But throughout the day, they were taking 2 hour, 3 hour naps. So that's perfectly healthy, okay? Um, and then we want to make sure that 50% of their sleep is REM sleep. So that means you want to make sure that at least 8 hours of their sleep is hopefully continuous so that they can get into that REM deep sleep. Okay. Up to when we hit a year, we're going to try and shoot for 12 hours. As you age, you need actually less sleep, which is kind of strange. You'd think that you'd actually need more sleep. Once you hit the teenage years, it seems like teenagers want to sleep a ton. At least I felt like I wanted to sleep a ton. 8 to 10 hours is sufficient for someone who is an adolescent. 10 to 11 for a school age, and then it's going to decrease down to 7 to 8 when you get a little bit older. So um, we don't need more than 9 hours when you're an adult. You just don't. Some people will feel a little bit better when they're getting 6.5 to 7. That's my range. I'm perfect at about 6.5. If I sleep more than 7, I don't feel good. And so everyone's going to be a little bit different. But this is kind of generally what you should look at as far as trying to get sleep. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about how we can prep ourselves to be able to sleep the best. So, we're going to talk a little bit about sleep hygiene, and we're going to go through kind of a day and look at ways that you can prepare yourself to be able to sleep throughout the day. So, we're going to start in the early morning. There's some great research that's showing that if you get sun exposure, 5 to 10 minutes, it doesn't have to be a ton of sun exposure. And what we mean by this is when you first wake up in the morning, if you can go sit on your patio or go eat breakfast, in your yard or something like that.
Walk a dog.
Walk a dog, go on a little walk. Getting sunlight in the early morning is very, very important. What it does is it actually increases cortisol levels. So you'll actually feel more awake, which is good. You actually want, we talk about cortisol and people being too stressed. You actually want a little bit of cortisol in your system. To begin the day, it's not bad at all because it's going to wake you up. You're going to actually need that to get going, and it will make you more alert in the morning. So getting 5 to 10 minutes is adequate if it's not cloudy. If it is cloudy, by the way, you'll probably want to do closer to 20 minutes. But 5 to 10 minutes is usually more than enough to be able to get your body elevated and active and have that cortisol increase. Something else that increases well, I should say you set a clock. So lots of people are familiar with melatonin. Your body actually produces melatonin naturally. And when you get sun exposure in the morning, it starts to set a clock. And it says, oh, you're awake now. I'm going to set the timer now for you to start producing melatonin later in the day. If you get sun exposure early in the morning, it'll actually start setting that clock so you can produce enough melatonin to be sleepy in the evening. So that's a really cool trick. And that's the first thing that we start with right at the beginning of the day. And that's kind of funny. We're talking about sleep, but we're prepping for sleep at the earliest part of the day, which is kind of fun. Okay. Next thing, not everyone, lots of people want to wake up and drink a cup of coffee. Is this a terrible thing? It can obviously help wake you up, but unfortunately, it can also have a negative effect on your sleep pattern, right? So, I would never recommend drinking coffee after noon, right? After 12 o'clock. That is not recommended. That is definitely going to throw off your sleeping pattern. Even some people, if they're in their 20s and they're like, I don't notice the difference. Unfortunately, that's going to catch up with you. So I would not recommend stimulants like coffee, especially if you're struggling with sleep. I wouldn't recommend doing coffee in the morning
Energy drinks.
or energy drinks. Yep, that anything with like caffeine, right? Instead, do what we said on this last step. If you want to wake yourself up and produce cortisol naturally, go ahead and step out, get some sunlight exposure for those first 5 to 10 minutes of your morning, and you'll naturally feel more awake. Okay? Next, daily movement. Research has shown 30 minutes of exercise daily has a dramatic increase on helping you be ready to sleep later in the day. So that doesn't have to be super strenuous. It can be just moderate movement. Cardiovascular movement would be great, but you can also do weightlifting, right? And get your heart elevated enough to be able to get yourself ready in the future to sleep. Now, I have to tell you a little hint. Don't do this within the within the last 2 to 3 hours before you're going to go to bed, right? Um, when you do that, you're going to elevate your heart rate. You're going to elevate your activity level. You're going to elevate hormones that are going to keep you up longer. So again, I would recommend try not to be active during those last 2 to 3 hours, because it's going to have that effect of keeping you awake. The next thing we need to talk about is consistency. Um, this is something that a lot of people don't realize, but for instance, I had a friend, I was inviting them to come do an activity a couple weeks ago, and I said, hey, come over, or like we were doing it was a breakfast. I said, we'd love to see you there. And they're like, nah, you know what? Uh, we sleep in on Saturdays. And I'm like, oh, that's fine. And to be honest, like I didn't think like, oh, that's going to affect their ability to sleep later. That wasn't my thought. But we don't realize, but it actually does have a pretty big effect. When you throw your body off of that sleep cycle where you're waking up, uh, let's say during the work week, we wake up at 5:45. During the weekends, we might sleep in a little bit to maybe like 6, but we're just not sleeping in until like 7, 8, 9, that will throw off your sleep schedule. It'll throw off your natural circadian rhythm. And for most of you probably know what a circadian rhythm is, but basically the circadian rhythm is your body's rhythm or flow of knowing when it's the appropriate time to be awake and when it's the appropriate time to rest and sleep. Um, and it sounds simple, but it's a whole lot of hormones and uh, pathways that go into helping you prepare for sleep. So having that proper consistency is going to make sure that you keep your circadian rhythm regular and that you're able to sleep when you want to. Okay? Here's one. This guy likes to eat in bed. He likes to eat a drumstick. I've never seen anyone eat a drumstick in bed, but but don't eat before going to sleep. Uh, why? There are lots of reasons why for metabolism that I've talked to a lot of you about over different classes, but let's talk about how it affects sleep. When you eat, it's that food's going to go into your stomach, and you're going to activate acids that are going to start breaking down foods. Lots of people will, unfortunately, when they eat late, they're going to activate those acids that are going to come up the esophagus and result in them having acid reflux issues. Because think about it, you eat, acid gets activated, you go lie down, and you put yourself in a position where that acid, which was being held down by gravity, is now, when you're perpendicular to the ground, it's going to actually go up your esophagus and cause you that heartburn. So that's not comfortable. Don't eat before bedtime. You're just going to cause yourself problems. And if you eat ice cream, you're going to cause yourself weird dreams. So don't eat. I'm sure everyone has something that they eat that causes them weird dreams. So don't do that for sure, right? All right. Avoiding screens. We all have our phones, right? Before we go to bed, we've all got our phones that we need to check our emails and our texts, and people scroll themselves to sleep. And that's just not healthy for you. Let me tell you why. So, when you are looking at your screen, we recommend not looking at your screen an hour before you go to bed. But when you're within that hour, it's emitting blue light. Blue light is similar to it's not exactly like UV light that we're getting from the sun exposure, but it has a similar effect to our brain. It stimulates the brain to do the same things that happen when we get sunlight in the morning. So we said cortisol is going to increase, and you're going to reset the clock for melatonin to be released. So basically, if you've gone your whole day, let's say you set the clock in the morning when you looked at the sun, when you had that sun exposure, when you're going late into the day, and then you look at your screen, it's instead of having that melatonin be released, it's basically going and putting the clock backwards so that it says, okay, we're going to release the melatonin later because we're not ready to release it. So that's a really good hint is try to avoid your screens right before you're going to bed. Try to give yourself at least an hour. If you can't, do it a half an hour, but give yourself some time because that will affect your ability to sleep. Okay? Set the mood. So this is, I want you to think setting up a ritual for going to bed. So this could be you like to do a little bit of light reading. This could be there's some soft music that you like to listen to. This could be you like to talk with your spouse or friend or something like that. Get into a rhythm routine. Lots of people like to take a bath before they go to sleep, right? So get yourself into a routine that allows your body to know, okay, I'm winding down. I'm ready to start getting ready to sleep. So lots of different ways. Find out what works for you. Maybe we can even, so you know what? This would be fun. In the chat, go ahead and type in something that you like to do to help prepare yourself for sleep. So go ahead, if you're around a computer, even if you're on your phone, you can probably type in that chat. But type in something that you like to do to be able to sleep, and then we'll highlight those as far as setting yourself up for good sleep for your routine. All right, using essential oils. So notice this isn't the first thing that we talked about. This is something that can help you, that can enhance your ability to sleep. But I want you to be able to get ready to sleep and do all these steps so that you give yourself the best opportunity to sleep. What essential oils are going to do is help you have an even deeper sleep, even more relaxing sleep. And I want to show you how this actually works. So we're going to go over a couple of different oils and a couple of different products that can help you do that. So the first one is our Serenity oil. Serenity, this is the oils that are in. It's a blend of oils. So these are the different oils that are in it. So lavender, cedarwood, coriander, ylang ylang, marjoram, Roman chamomile, vetiver, sandalwood, and tonka bean and vanilla. So this is an awesome oil. If you haven't smelled this, I didn't used to like this one, but I love it now. And it has got such a nice blend. It's so calming. And it's something that you can just drop a couple drops in your diffuser and you can diffuse it all night. And it helps you have way better sleep, way less stress. And I don't want to just tell you that it's that. We actually have some research to show you that, which is really fun. But I'll show you that in just a little bit. But I'll show you these products first, and then we'll kind of go more deeply into um, what the science is behind it and some of the research that's been done in it. Okay. So this is something that you could put into a bath. This is something that you could put in your diffuser. This is something that you can put on the bottom of your feet. I love putting oils on the bottom of my feet before I go to sleep because it does help me sleep a little bit more deeply. So I really enjoy that. So that is the Serenity oil. Then there is the soft gel. So this is really cool. Crystal's got it here. Yep, perfect. So this is a little purple pill, I guess kind of reddish pill, reddish purple pill.
And they smell so good.
They do smell so good. Yeah, they smell awesome. But what this has, it has a couple of things in it, including tart cherry, that actually enhance your ability to make your own melatonin. Now, why do I say that, and why is that important? So I've had patients before doTERRA actually made something like this. I would actually suggest if people were having problems with sleep, I would say, hey, why don't you try melatonin? Sometimes that was good, and sometimes people were like, oh man, I had the worst dreams. Oh, it was crazy. Or they felt so groggy. So I would say it worked for maybe a quarter, maybe 15 to 25% of people that I recommended it to. It actually worked. This, on the other hand, is really cool because it's not melatonin, but it has things that will increase your ability to create melatonin yourself. So you're not going to overproduce because your body's going to say, "Oh, got it. This is the cutoff point. I don't need crazy dreams. I just need enough to sleep." So that's something that I really love. This supplement you can take in conjunction with that oil, the Serenity oil. But so this is called the Serenity Soft Gel. Okay. And it does have these different oils, but it also has things like tart cherry and lemon balm and passion flower. So these are things that really, really help to get you calm, to reduce stress, and to help you get ready to sleep. Okay. And then there's the stick, and I think I got it here. So this is a really cool, I love the feel of this. It's actually a coconut oil base, but it has a lot of different oils inside, including vetiver and Roman chamomile, marjoram. You can see them there. But the stick you actually can apply topically, and it has a great effect of doing the same thing of helping you have even more deep sleep. Um, so I want to talk to you because it seems like, okay, why would they have three different things that seem like they're all named the same, but they're all doing different things? And they actually, the compound effect, it has a really cool ability to actually help you sleep better. And let me talk to you through that, how we know that. So, doTERRA did I don't know, it's on the screen there,
It's
but
like our baby
oh,
color
maybe.
in there, it looks like. But
I
it's
don't know.
not, it didn't
I don't know.
happen, so I don't
Anyway,
know how to get that off.
let's see.
The yellow, maybe that
Oh, maybe oh,
annotation thing.
annotation?
Huh.
I don't know. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Okay.
Oh, it is annotated. Close.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry,
While
guys.
he,
Yeah.
okay,
Okay, good.
while he does that for a moment, I did want to just make mention of our routine kind of as a family. This is our big go-to for our baby. We just
True.
put this on his chest, and we also do the oil that we do. We just put that like on the top of his head, on his hair and everything. And then we have a kind of similar routine for our older son as well. But especially for our little guy, that's just what he's had since he was born, basically, just because these weren't around when our older son was born. And for myself personally, with some of the sleep deprivation that I had when just through pregnancy and then postpartum and all, I would say that there were times when I could take one soft gel and that would be sufficient. And then there were other times where I'd find myself still waking up in the middle of the night And when I did find that that was the case, it does say 1 to 2 soft gels per night. So you can see what suits your body best, and it might vary in different seasons.
And that it's actually kind of funny. Thank you for sharing.
Uh-huh.
Um, this one, our baby now, we put it on his chest. He grabs it out of our hands now, and he'll put it on his chest, and then he'll stick it on his toes. He's like,
Cute.
it's really cute. So he's like, oh, it's part of his routine, which is kind of fun. Okay, so I'm actually gonna, yeah, okay, so doTERRA did their own they did their own study, which was cool, where they did a 2 month study, and they had people use the whole doTERRA system, the Serenity Sleep System, excuse me. So all three of these products together, and this was the result. So they said they tested people before and after, and they found that the people before that had issues with or sorry, had no issue with concentration was at 10%. And then when they did it for 2 months, they had 70% had no issues with concentration. And you can read these: recalling information, working on hobbies, doing housework, driving long distances, public transportation, doing paperwork, and working. So these obviously it having more deep sleep, and the only thing that they changed was using this system. Um, Having better sleep obviously enhanced their abilities all across the board in their lives. Okay. Now, here's some other things. This is actually the measurement of how much they slept. Okay. So you can see there's the baseline. And here's the interesting thing. When they used just the aromatic, it actually had a slight decrease in their sleeping pattern, just a slight decrease. But when they used the stick and the oil together, it had an increase. So that's really, really fascinating, where they actually had much more sleep. But then also, if you look at their sleep scores, and this is actually they when doTERRA did this study, they actually had they used a sleep score that was external to them. It was they had a wearable device that was on each of the people who were in the study, and it measured how much movement they had, what REM sleep they had, um, the number of hours they slept. So it measured four parameters. I don't unfortunately remember the fourth parameter, but you can see that when they did the full system, it significantly increased their sleep score too. So that's what's really cool about the whole using the whole system together. This is cool where you can actually see this had they were measuring. Oh, let me back up. C-reactive protein, also called CRP, it's a marker in your blood to measure how much stress your body is under. And what they found was that by using this sleep system, um, they had significantly less levels of C-reactive protein in people's blood. So their stress levels were significantly decreased. This is interesting because they actually broke it down into irregular sleepers and regular sleepers. Irregular sleepers are those people who don't have a set schedule, who differ the amount of, or I should say, the time that they go to bed by more than 2 hours a night, right? So they swing much more about and one night I'm going to go to bed at 10, the next night I'm going to go out to bed at 12, right? The regular sleepers, not only did the regular sleepers have a bigger decrease, but it was quite a significant decrease in the amount of C-reactive protein in their blood, which is really cool.
So, and there are a couple things that I want to just add with C-reactive protein. It's it's a stress marker, as Joel's saying, but also for inflammation. So our pain levels can be affected by high levels of C-reactive protein, as well as our heart health. This is a much more indicative marker as opposed to cholesterol in terms of how our heart is actually doing.
Yep,
So, yeah, that's good information.
yep, yep, yep. Okay, so we're going to talk a teeny bit about epigenetics. This is the deep dive part of our class. If you're not familiar with epigenetics, or maybe you've heard people talk about epigenetics and you don't know quite what it is, basically what epigenetics is we have our DNA, and within our DNA, we have little genes throughout. And those genes give instructions for which proteins to build or how to build proteins. And your whole body is made up of proteins, right? Your brain and your eyes and your nose and your heart, everything is made up of proteins. So the instructions for those proteins are on your DNA. Now, how often those genes get expressed or how often the body looks to those instructions to make proteins will depend on what's called epigenetics, meaning, so epigenetics is the ability of the body to turn on and off certain proteins when they're needed. Okay. And we can affect how those genes turn on and off for the better and for the worse. And the cool thing about this specific set of products is that they actually measured how it affects your genes. And so I'm gonna show a little video here. This is a video of his name is Dr. Osgathorpe. He's an MD. He's a medical doctor. He is the what is he? The chief medical officer for doTERRA. And they conducted, this was in conjunction with the other study. They conducted this study to show how it's actually affecting your genes. So we're going to watch this little video, okay? I'm going to click on here. Uh, Hang on. Can everyone see that still? Oh no, it says it's paused. Let me share. Hang on just a sec. Hang on, let me do this first. Share screen.
I think that one, the lower one.
No, I think.
Oh,
Can everyone see that? Pearly, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see that?
okay.
Okay, perfect. Here we go.
Thumbs up if you can hear.
Now, the video we just watched was an introduction to the science of gene expression. I want you to hold on to that concept that we all have the potential to alter our genetic futures by the way we choose to live our lives and the products we put in our bodies. We've said this many times before on this very stage. And today, I'm going to show you how our new Serenity sleep system influenced the genes of our Serenity clinical trial subjects. This epigenetic study was part of the larger Serenity sleep system trial just discussed. You'll recall Dr. Stevens shared that the design was a before and after type of sample collection. To measure the epigenetic outcomes, we collected blood samples at the beginning and then at the very end of the trial. From those blood samples, we can see what each person's epigenetic profile looks like before using the sleep system, and then compare that to the after patterns in their genetic profile. The only thing that changed during the trial is that they were using the Serenity sleep system. Here's what a genome-wide epigenetic screen of more than 10,000 genes looks like. This is called a volcano plot. Don't worry, you don't need to remember this, okay? And each one of these dots represents one of the genes we studied. This is our data. The ones you see in red are genes that were dialed down, just like that dimmer switch we saw a moment ago. And the ones in green are the genes that were dialed up or turned on, not just a little. These genes were modulated more than 5-fold. That's like turning up that dimmer switch to fully light up the room. Let me show you the data on the 3 most interesting genes in our data set. The first gene I want to tell you about is DNM3TB. Just rolls right off the tongue, doesn't it? DNM3TB. Oh, it's just beautiful. This gene is expressed diurnally, meaning daily, and is involved in maintaining our healthy circadian rhythms. In our clinical trial, we saw DNM3TB expression statistically significantly increased after 6 weeks using the Serenity Sleep System as part of their daily sleep routine. As I said, DNM3TB, there it is again, just rolls right off the tongue, is a gene that supports healthy sleep through the maintenance of circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms are critical to our sleep cycles. The adjusted p-value for this gene is 0.03, which means we are 97% assured that the result we saw in our study is due to the use of the Serenity Sleep System and nothing else. Okay, you ready for the next gene? This one I think you're going to like. All right, stick with me. This next gene is called LRP5. Sound familiar? No, not our loyalty rewards program, but just as valuable. LRP5 is better known as LDL receptor related protein 5. This gene is involved in our metabolic function, and its expression is affected by the quality of our sleep. LRP5 gene expression was significantly increased by using the doTERRA Serenity Sleep System. LRP5 expression is increased when sleep is improved, and it supports glucose metabolism and cellular fitness. The adjusted p-value here is again 0.03. That number is my Christmas morning. Okay, and now my favorite, the last gene I'm going to share with you, I affectionately call ZIMZ2. ZMIZ2, ZIMZ2, is a gene that is involved in regulating the STAT family of signaling transcription factors. The STAT family is one of the most important of all the signaling pathways in the human body and is involved in immunity, inflammatory response, and sleep. ZIMZ2 has also been associated with circadian rhythms, and in particular, the ease of waking up after sleep. ZIMZ2 was significantly upregulated in healthy subjects using the doTERRA Serenity Sleep System. In other words, using doTERRA Serenity Sleep System may lead to increased expression of ZIMZ2. This data is evidence of what I shared with you yesterday. This is not just about the amount of sleep you can get by using the Serenity Sleep System. It's about the quality of sleep you get. And that quality of sleep is determined by what changes happen in your body and in your cells that improve your health and wellness. Another way to say this, using the new Serenity Sleep System is not only about increasing our sleep length and quality in subjective terms. This system will help you to get what your body requires from sleep to be more healthy.
Perfect. Hold on. Let me switch over back to here. So I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. Where am I here? Back to here, keynote. There we go. Share. All right, are we back here? Can everyone see that?
The Z,
The Z's.
and like the little moon and the DNA. Mom, can you give thumbs up if you do see it? Or if not, then oh no, we lost you. Sorry, we can't see you.
Oh, I think I just turned it off. Did I close it?
It says Zoom. Do you guys hear us? Sorry. There you are. We lost
Sorry,
you.
guys.
Yeah, you're still there. We
All
just
right,
lost your
Like,
screen share.
uh-oh. This is gonna go in the blooper reel. All right, hang on.
A video in the middle of a
Yeah, I've never done that, so there you go.
of a class. So
Hang on.
okay.
Let me see if I can get this back. Share. There we
you,
go.
Austin. Thanks
Now
for
it's back.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Okay,
Thank you.
good.
Okay. All right. So Something that I love to talk about. So I hope that kind of give you a little bit more. I I love this type of stuff because it helps us understand that like, hey, it's actually it doesn't just make you feel good. It's actually, oh wow, that's actually really affecting your genes and your gene production and the actual epigenetics within you. So I think that's a really fun part. You gonna say something?
There's something else that that some of the lead physicians, so Dr. Osgoldthorpe, who was just speaking, and then also Dr. David Hill, they have also done further research that shows that our vitamins, they help more with our cell function. So they're helping more with the genetics of cells in terms of their repair and their organelles working properly. Whereas oils, the essential oils, are helping more with cellular pathways. So all of those little genetic um, access points that he was just talking about, the ZMIZ2, those sorts of things, those are pathways that are allowing for our bodies to more fully express that that system or that
Expression.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's that function
There you go.
properly compared to just the cells working better. So, anyways, just wanted to give you a little bit more food for thought there.
Yep. Awesome. I just wanted to highlight this is one of the oils that's in this. It's vanilla, and I love something I love about DoTerra is that they source oils from all over the world. You can see this is from Madagascar, and the number of people that it helps to create jobs for in Madagascar, almost 1,200 people, which is so cool. And then if you look at just the number of impact that that's going to have with on their families, that's it's right about 6,000 people that are going to be affected by the sourcing of this oil that goes into a product like Serenity. So I love the fact that this is doing great by helping people outside of our country. They're doing wonderful work and being able to help give us such a gift. And we're giving also being able to help them have a better life because of that.
And they're not on this huge manufacturing plant. They're little farmers
Yeah.
that have like 2 acres and they're growing the vanilla in Madagascar. So it's yeah, the impact on those families directly.
Something we love.
Hmm.
All right, so if you want more help, ideas, hints, you can download this. There's a little QR code. You can scan that with your phone, and that can give you some more ideas on how to have even better sleep. So I'm going to leave that up for just a sec, and if you want that, we can also send it to you the QR code if you'd like. So. All right, so how do you use these? Crystal already went through this a little bit, but so you would start with some type of diffusion with the oil. You can put 3, 4 drops in your diffuser,
I
and
like
then
more, like
she likes
8.
more. Yeah, which is
8
fine.
drops.
Which is fine. Um, but and then stick it close to your bed so you can you're actually inhaling it while you sleep. You would apply this right before you go to sleep on your chest, and you can even put it on your feet. And then you take the capsule, either 1 or 2 capsules, depending. I would start with one, and then if you feel like you need to do a little bit more, totally fine. But try and do it about a half an hour before you go to sleep. That would be most ideal for you. So that kind of gives it a chance to start digesting and getting into your system. And that is all she wrote on sleep. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the share here.